السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. الحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, today we are looking at lesson number 6 or lesson number 26, depending on the book you are using, the edition you are using. Of course, in this particular lesson, we are going to be looking at, this lesson is the starting of the surf lessons. So previously, we haven't looked at any surf lesson. So at this point, the author of the book now tries to divert our attention towards surf. And of course, we all know what surf is. At what we have been looking before at, one of the things we have been studying, most of them will focus on nahu, grammar rules. But now, as I said, we'll start looking at surf. So from this particular lesson, lesson number 6 to lesson number 9, or lesson number 26 to lesson number 29, depending on the edition you are using, it's going to be the next 4 lessons. The next 4 lessons, they are going to be focusing more on surf. And before we do that, I would like us to look at basic introduction to surf before we start reading from the book. So first of all, we all know the difference between nahu and surf. Let me elaborate this. Nahu, like we have been looking previously, it deals with the role of a word in a sentence, the function of a word in a sentence. So for example, if I say this word, you will tell me it is mudaf ilayhi in the sentence. This word, it is a dua in the sentence. So that's what now basically talk about, the role of a word in the sentence. And its role is determined by its i'rab, the ending of the word. The ending can take kasra, fatha, dhamma, depending on its rule. So for example, if it is a dua, it will be marfu. If it is an object, it will be mansub. We all know this. So that is now. Now is talking about the role of a word in a sentence, and that is affected by its i'rab, the ending of on the last letter of the word. So that is basically what now is much focused on. But when we talk about surf is different from now, and surf focuses more on the form in which the word comes, how the word is conjugated. So for example, if I give you a word, standing alone, you can tell me this is a masdar, this is a verbal noun, or you tell me this is an ism fa'il, this is so and so. So based on how the word is conjugated, you can tell me this word is this. I hope that is clear. So for example, if we have fa'ala, then we have tafa'ala, then we have tafa'ala, yatafa'alu, then we have fa'il, maf'ul. All this is different pattern of the same word. So based on the way the word is written, that is what surf focuses more on, the form in which a word appears. So you don't need it to be in a sentence before you can identify it. That's the basic thing about surf. Surf is, you just see the word alone and you tell me this is it. This word is masdar. So for example, if I say az-zihab, ar-ruju', if you just see ar-ruju', you can tell me this is masdar. So based on how it is spelled, you tell me this is masdar. You don't need it to be in a sentence. But as I said, now it has to be in a sentence before you can even tell it is taking kesra or fatha or dhamma. It will be in the sentence, and then maybe there will be something that will cause it to be majrur or marfu or mansub. I hope that's clear. So that's the basic difference between nahu and surf. Inshallah, as we go further on, we will look at more difference between these two sciences. I hope that is clear. So like I said before, let's try to look at a simple terminologies, basic terminologies that are used or that are needed in this science. So please observe here. This is a very brief chart that talks about the basic classification of the basics of surf. So please, I would like you to pay attention very well here as I explained. So here, verbs Basically, in surf, they are classified into just two. So verbs can be al-fi'l al-sahih and then al-fi'l al-mu'tallu, two divisions of verbs. Okay, so looking at the surf of verbs. So let's look at it one by one. It is something very easy. So please, yes, I hope you will enjoy it as well. It is something very easy and then, very interesting. So observe. When we say al-fi'l al-sahih, it means that, verbs mostly come on this pattern. Let me remind you. Okay, let me remind you. I hope you have not forgotten this pattern. Verbs mainly come on this pattern. Okay, especially three-letter verbs. Zahaba, kataba, sa'ala, okay, jalasa. So verbs mostly come on this pattern. So I'm talking about the three-letter verbs. So observe. When we say al-fi'l al-sahih, it means that a verb which lacks or which is free from harf al-illa, huruf al-illa. I hope you can remember what we mean by huruf al-illa. Huruf al-illa are waw, alif, and the ya. These three letters, we call them huruf al-illa. I hope you can see here. Waw, alif, and then ya. They are huruf al-illa. So, any verb that doesn't have these three letters, we call it a fi'l sahih. And of course, the opposite, a verb that has waw or alif or yai in its root letters. Let me be specific. The main thing here is root letters. In its root letters, in these three letters, fa, ayn, and then lam. If it has these three, it is called al-fi'l al-mu'tallu. So that's the difference. Al-fi'l al-sahih, it lacks a verb that doesn't have any of these letters, these three letters, in its root letters. And then fi'l al-mu'tallu, verb that has one of its root letters being waw or alif or yai. I hope that is clear. So that is the difference between al-fi'l al-sahih and al-fi'l al-mu'tallu. So then the difference here is just having these three letters or not. Whether it is having one of these three letters in its letters or not. That's what makes it being sahih or mu'tallu. I hope that is clear. Okay. Now let's look at examples. So example of sahih verbs are zahaba. You can see zahaba. It doesn't have waw or alif or yai. So zahaba is his fi'l sahih. Safara. Safara. It is a fi'l sahih. It doesn't have waw or alif or yai. I hope that is clear. That's I intentionally brought this verb to explain, because the main thing I'm focusing on or I'm emphasizing is its root letters. In its root letters, in the root letters, it doesn't have alif, waw, or yai. Now, if you look at here, someone will say safara. You can see there's alif after the sin. Safara. You can see there's alif. So also how? Because that's alif. The thing is in the root letters. In the what? In the root letters. That's the main thing I said. In the root letters. So if you look at that verb safara, okay, it is something like this. Fa'ala. And then there is something added here. Something is added like this. So it is coming on the pattern of fa'ala. Fa'ala. So when verbs come on this pattern, that alif is not a root letter. The root letter are the three, these three main ones. So here the root letters are the sin, the fa, and then the ra. I hope that is clear. The alif there is zaida, is an addition, but it is not a root letter. I hope that is clear. So that's why I'm saying the root letter, the root letter, the root letter. That's the main thing you should focus on. But if there's an zaida, okay, it means that it's just an addition, but it is not a root letter. I hope that is clear. Okay. So let's now look at examples of the fi'l al-mu'tallu. So example of the fi'l al-mu'tallu, of course, verbs that have one of either waw or alif or yai. Example: wajada, wajada, wajada. you can see there's wow there. So it is a fi'l mu'tal. So now I hope if I give you any verb, you can tell me whether it is sahih or a mu'tal verb. You now know the difference. Very simple difference. So fi'l sahih, verbs that doesn't have waw or alif or yai. So that's what they define it. See the definition. هو ما خلت حروفه من حروف الإلة. هو ما خلت. It is the one which is empty. We'll say khala for something to be empty. Bimana its root letters is empty or is free from huruf al-illa, from the huruf al-illa. That is waw, alif, and then yai. Now here, the definition of fi'l al-mu'tal, you see, هو ما كان فيه حرفا. هو ما كان فيه حرف أو أكثر من حروف العلة. It is the one which has one or more of huruf al-illa. That is waw, alif, and then ya. I hope that is clear. Okay. So now let's look at the divisions. When we say as-sahih, a fi'l sahih, I mean verbs that are free from harf al-illa, they can also have subcategories. 3. They are all both are having 3 subcategories. So let's look at it. Okay. The first one, sahih. The first definition of fi'l sahih is salim. Fi'l salim, and then we have fi'l mahmuz, and then we have al-muda'af. I hope that is clear. So that's the 3 divisions. So let's look at the salim. So salim means that the criteria here is whether it is having hamza and then shadda. Hamza and then shadda, that's duplication. Okay, repetition of letters. So that is the 2 criteria that constitute, that govern the division of these 3 types. So salim, when we say salim, meaning that the verb is sahih to begin with. It doesn't have waw or alif or yai, and at the same time it doesn't have these 2 things, hamza and then shadda. Hamza and then shadda. It doesn't have hamza and shadda. So as I said, the divisions, these 3 divisions, the criteria that governs them is having hamza and then and then shadda. So when we say salim, that's the first one. It doesn't have, it's free from huruf al-illa, that's the first condition. And then it doesn't have hamza and then shadda. I hope that is clear. So that's why he says, bimana, that is salima min al-hamza wa tad'if. So it is free from hamza and then repetition or duplication. Example, shariba. Shariba. It doesn't have huruf al-illa. It is already sahih. And then it doesn't have hamza or shadda. I hope that is clear. There's no root letter which is repeated. Example, let me give you an example of a verb where the root letter is repeated. Example is this one. I'm going to say marra. Okay. Shadda. Okay. So here you see that the shadda means that the ra is 2, right? Marara. Shadda, the same way, shaddada. And then it becomes shadda. I hope that is clear. There is idgham, which makes it to become like shadda. And then here too is marara. The ra is 2. Whether the shadda, that's the meaning of the shadda, right? Okay. So that's the same thing. That's what we are talking about here. It doesn't have hamza, and then it is also free from shadda, duplication. There's no repetition of letters here. So shariba is an example. Doraba is another example. So that is the first division of fi'l sahih. It is sahih and then it doesn't have hamza and the shadda. Now let's look at the second division. The second division is mahmuz. Al-fi'l al-mahmuz. If a verb that is mahmuz. Of course, when you hear mahmuz, you can see there is hamza. Hamza. In the root letter, just look at the root letters. Hamza. Okay, you can find hamza there. Okay, it's just sort of like a different spelling of it, and then they write it mahmuz. But you can see the word is very similar to hamza. It has meaning that it is having hamza, a verb that has hamza in it. I hope that is clear. That's why they say fihi hamza. That is in it there is hamza. So a verb that has hamza. So that's why I mark it. You can see there is a mark, and then here too there is a mark. So here you see there is I cancel it out, meaning there is no shadda and then there is no hamza. The same way here, you can see hamza is marked correct, meaning that a verb that has hamza in it, and here a verb that has shadda in it. So al-mahmuz is a verb that has hamza in it. Example, akala, you can see the first one is hamza. Sa'ala, you can see the second letter, the second root letter is a hamza. And then we have mala'a. Mala'a means to fill something. Okay, to fill, maybe you fill a cup with water, that is mala'a. Mala'atahu bil ma, you have filled it with water. So mala'a means to fill. So you can see the last letter is hamza. So it is a fi'l al-mahmuz, meaning one of the root letters is having hamza, and we call it fi'l al-mahmuz. I hope that is clear. Now, the second, the third division and the last division is what we term as mudha'af. Mudha'af. Of course, in the word itself, you can see there's a shadda. Okay, there's a duplication. There's a repetition of the ayn. Mudha'af. So, of course, you can see I've marked the shadda. Okay, meaning that it is a word or it is a verb that has a shadda in it. The manner one of its root letters is repeated. So, for example, marra, it is initial marara, and then like this. It is like this. Okay. Okay, so it is ra like this. Marara. But because when we say marara, it is difficult to pronounce. So you simply do it down. You join them together and then it will become marra. Marra. Easy to pronounce than the marara. So that's it. So like here, so as they said, the mudha'af, it could be two types. Mudha'af as-sulasi and the mudha'af ar-ruba'i. So this the third division under Sahih, it also has two divisions. And the first one is as-sulasi, al-mudha'af as-sulasi, and then the second division is al-mudha'af ar-ruba'i. Now say as-sulasi, it means that the last two letters, the last two root letters, the ayn kalima, you know, as I said, the root letters are going to be three. Okay, the first and then the second and the third. Whatever comes is a zaida. Okay, it's an addition. So for example, like the safara here, the safara, you see there are four letters there: sin, alif, and then fa and then ra. But I said that the root letters are three. So the sin, the fa, and the ra, they are the main ones. The alif that you add to elongate the fa, ala, sa, fa, ko, tala. So that elongation, that zaida, is an addition. It's not part of the root letter. So when we say al-mudha'af, there is repetition in it, but there could be different ways of repetition. So that's why it is now also two types, because there could be different ways of repetition. Okay, so that's what leads to is it being two types. So the first way of repeating is the last two root letters will be the same. Example, like I just give you the example, marara. Okay, this verb, marara, it means to pass by. Okay, so for example, if I say I passed by him, marar to be he, I passed by him. So marara. So you can see the last two root letters, the ayn kalima and then the la kalima. If you compare these two, the fa correspond to the mim, the ayn correspond to the ra, the lam correspond to the ra again. So meaning the ayn and the la and the lam, when you bring it here, when you compare it here, they are the same letters. So the repetition is in the last two root letters, and that's what we term as al-mudha'af sulasi, where the repetition is in the ayn and then the lam kalima. I hope that is clear. Now the other way of repetition is a repetition al-mudha'af ar-ruba'i. Al-mudha'af ar-ruba'i, and that is repetition where you see something like zalzala, okay, waswasa, qalqala, silsila. So these verbs, these types of verbs, the shadda can even come. Let me write one and then you see if I have this. Okay, So if I have this, okay, so please observe here. Zalzala. Okay, zalzala. Zalzala. This verb. Zalzala means to shake, for something to shake and shake. Okay, to shake and shake. So that is zalzala. So now see something. If you can observe very well, there. So when you compare it in surf, it will come on the pattern. Of course, it will have different pattern. The letters are no more three. It's not a three-letter verb again. So the pattern each pattern is fa'lala in surf. This pattern is fa'lala. Don't worry. All these things, inshallah, by the end of the surf lessons, it will become very, very, very something very, very easy and cheap to you. You won't see any difficulty or any of them being confusing. It's just because it's the beginning, we may see it to be somehow, but inshallah, as we go further, Allah will open our understanding very well. So please just pay attention. So fa'alala, this is for verbs that are 4-letter words. Okay, fa'alala. Now, what is a fa'alala? That's the pattern on which these 4-letter words comes. Zalzala, waswasa, qalqala, silsila. So when it comes like this, when we say al-mudha'af ruba'i, it means that the repetition is the first and the third, they are the same. Okay, the first, let me change the color. The first and then the third. Al-awwal was-salis, the first and then the third, they are the same. And similarly, the second and then the last, they are the same. So see something. The first and the third, they are the same. The first and the third letters, they are the same. The second and the fourth, they are the same. So that's a different way of repeating. So here the repetition is not that the letters following one another are repeated, like marara. Okay, masasa. Okay, so those one are different. We call them, that's what we call them the sulasi. Marra shadda, from marra shaddada. But here, zalzala. Okay, the first and the third are repeating, are the same. The second and the fourth are also the same. So that's what we call the mudha'af ar-ruba'i. Zalzala, qalqala, silsila, waswasa. Okay, and we all know this. So that is it. Now let's look at the mu'tallu verbs. Of course, we say they are verbs that has at least one harful illa as its root letter. As its root letter. I hope that is clear. They are also into 3 categories: al-misal, and then al-ajwaf, and then an-naqis. Here, the criteria is it, to begin with, it is already having one of its root letter being waw or alif or yai. But the criteria that leads to the division, or that constitute the division, is the position of that harful illa. So if the harful illa, you know, we say they are verbs that have huruful illa in them. Okay, so if the harful illa is the first letter of the verb, it is called misal. If the harful illa is the second letter of the verb, like here, qama, you can see this, the second letter is the alif. So if the second letter of the verb is the harful illa, it is called ajwaf. If the harful illa is the third letter of the verb, it is called an-naqis. That is the simplicity of it. When we say al-fi'l al-mu'tallu, let me do a summary. Al-fi'l al-mu'tallu, it means a verb that has harf al-illa in it, whether waw, alif or yai. But As I said, they are also into three categories. They are further divided into three: al-misal, al-ajwaf, and then al-naqis. So a verb, when we say a verb is misal, it means that it has a root letter to begin with. It has one of its root letter as harf al-illa to begin with. Then the harf al-illa is the first letter of the verb. So that is misal. But if the harf al-illa is the second letter of the verb, then it is called al-ajwaf. If the harf al-illa is the third letter of the verb, it is called an-naqis. I hope that is clear. So see here, I awwaluhu. So misal, he's defining misal, and he say I, that is awwaluhu harful illa. The first of it, the first letter, the first root letter of it is a harful illa. Example: wa'ada, yabisa, wa'ada, yabisa. You can see here wa is the beginning. That's a harful illa. Ya is beginning. It's a ya. Okay. So this ya is this ya here. That's is supposed to be yaw. So yabisa, oh, that is clear. The first is a harful illa, so we call it misal. Now the second here, so he's defining it. I awsatuhu harful illa. The middle of it is a harful illa. Example: qama, ba'a. Qama means he stood. Ba'a, he sold. So ba'a. You see the middle is a harful illa. That is alif. Okay. Now the third one, I akhiruhu harful illa. And naqis verb means the last of it is a harful illa. So for example, sa'a, rama. Okay. So sa'a means he strived. Okay. If you strive, someone strive to do to do something, strive to his utmost ability to do something. That is sa'a. Rama means he threw. Okay, he threw, to throw something. That someone throwing something. That's Rama. So you see the last letter is a harful illa. So that is what we mean by naqis. So here is very easy. Okay. So that is the basic categorization of the sort of verbs. Inshallah, as we are going into the lesson number 26, 27, 28, and 29, we'll look at them into more details, inshallah. So please, I would like you to revise this chart, this table very well. So before we continue in the next lesson, of course, we'll try to pause here, and then in the next lesson, we'll now read from what the author has written. And of course, that will make our work very, very easier and our understanding very easy. Okay, because if we already know these subdivisions, it will make our understanding very easy for us, inshallah. So please revise it. As I know it is because this is your first time. It will be if this is your first time, it may be somehow confusing. So, but if you revise it, of course, inshallah, it will become very. And as we go further, we'll look at it into details, and that will become very easy, inshallah. So try to revise, and then we'll continue in the next lesson, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan wa barakallahu li wa lakum fi Qur'anil Hakim wa nafani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikril hakim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.